Day 110 of the Daily Stoic. Our sphere of impulses. Epictetus says we must discover the missing art of ascent and pay special attention to the sphere of our impulses, that they are subject to reservation to the common good, and that they are in proportion to actual worth. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations 11.37. Here we have an emperor, the most powerful man in the world, quoting in his diary the wisdom of a former slave, and from that we know Marcus might have had direct notes from Epictetus' lectures via one of his former students. That wisdom is ultimately about surrender and serving the common good, about the limits of our power and the importance of checking our impulses, something every person in authority needs to hear. Power and powerlessness seem so rarely to enter the same orbit, but when they do, it can change the world. Think about President Abraham Lincoln meeting with, corresponding with, and learning from Frederick Douglass, another former slave and who had considerable wisdom and insight. In any case, all these men lived by the principles expressed here, that in our lives, whether we're experiencing great power or powerlessness, it's critical to leave room for what may happen and to keep the common good and the actual worth of things front and center. And above all, be willing to learn from anyone and everyone, regardless of their station in life. I'm just going to talk about something that happened recently. I picked up a hitchhiker and I tweeted about it. And I got a couple of comments on the public Twitter sphere, but I got a couple of personal DMs of people telling me that it was their opinion that what I was doing was not a safe decision. But my response to them was, I told you my reason on the tweet. The reason I picked up Paul the hitchhiker, who was heading to Tampa or Miami or something like that, and ended up dropping off in Atlanta. But the reason I picked up Paul the hitchhiker was because my grandmammy, told me that it might be Jesus. So I told you guys, I told you guys in transparency why I picked up Paul the hitchhiker, because he might be Jesus, and you never know. I mean, if it was Jesus, no, he ended up not being Jesus. End of the story. But I got a lot of people, not a lot, but I got a couple of people who DM'd me and said, hey man, just stay safe. Just let me know. Let me know when you arrive. It's like, legit, bro. Thank you. Like, legit, you care. You want me to know that I came back alive and I wasn't killed. But all right, I make assessments, guys. It's not like I'm picking up any random, I am picking up a random stranger, but it's not like I'm picking up a burly 375-pound dude who looks like he could strangle me with just his pinky, right? I've made a quick visual agreeableness judgment call in the split second of pulling off to the down on ramp to the highway, and the guy was standing halfway down, and I was like, okay, I got it, good half second, got a good look. Okay, I mean, I'm bigger than him, and I'm packing heat. So guess who's got the upper hand anyway? And he might be Jesus. Here's the point I'm trying to make. And above all, be willing to learn from anyone and everyone, regardless of their station in life. I am a student of people, my friends. I love people. I love people's stories. I love hearing them. This is why I create videos. This is why I create content. Is it because I love hearing when people are willing to share with me how this content has helped them. That's it. Like, that's why I do it. And I have learned in my short time in life that I desire to have as many amazing experiences as I possibly can. To have amazing experiences with amazing people, not count things, right? Experiences to be had, not things to count, right? And I loved a good 2.5 hours of amazing conversation with Paul the hitchhiker. Now, do I know whether his stories were true or not? Do not know. But daggone, he wound me up, guys. He made that 2.5 hours go like that. So was it worth it? Absolutely. Did I get to hear a man's story, true or not? Doesn't matter if it's true or not. It was a great story, and I know about that man, Paul the hitchhiker. Let me tell you a couple things about him, or at least what he told me, is that he's on podcasts, and he helps people out with podcasts. He's supposed to be on, I think, his sister's podcast, and she's doing exceptionally well. She used to be out in Italy, and he spent some time out there with her, helping her with her podcast out there. I'd forgotten what the name is. I should have looked it up a little bit earlier. But the man had lost his left eye, and the reason is because he's a fisherman, and he's been fishing for 30 years, and he's on and off of boats. And so he goes up and down the shore, and he's originally from Augusta, Georgia, and his grandmama lives up in Indiana, and he is going down to Tampa. I hope you made it, brother. He's going down to Tampa to join a fishing crew down there, or Miami or something like that. And this guy was ridiculously knowledgeable about JDM import tuner cars. Like for 50, I think he was 56, something like that. He knew a lot about tuner cars, like stuff that I was getting into in the late 90s, right, as a builder, messing with Hondas and Mazdas and all this type of stuff. And like he was telling me about my world with expertise, with vocabulary and stories that I was like, bro, you know your ish. So I knew that this guy knew about the tuner import world, and we had some amazing conversations talking about Supras versus RX-7s versus, got to get that Veil side. I mean, he reminded me of some of the old body kits. Guys, what an amazing conversation. And I could go on, but I'm not. I'll never forget Paul the hitchhiker. See you in Discord, MetaFam.